Hello, and welcome back. So, as we know, Ramadan is just around the corner, and I know right about now we are all searching good iftar ideas. So, I'm here to share 4 of my favorite iftar recipes that I love to make throughout Ramadan. All of these recipes are simple to make, they don't use any special equipment, they use simple ingredients, and they're pretty quick to make. So, it's basically like the golden ticket for an iftar dish. If you're looking for something more traditional like samosas, chutneys, chicken puffs, and all of that, I've already shared those recipes in my previous video, which is my Ramadan meal prep video. So if you're looking for that, do check that out. These recipes are a little more different, a little unique from the regular recipes that you see, but still super simple and delicious, perfect for your iftar parties or just at home. I think you're gonna love these. I've listed down all the ingredients and measurements in the link in my description, so check that out. But now, let's get started. This savory croissant bake is one of my favorite recipes. It's like a savory version of French toast, but it's made with croissants instead of bread, and it's absolutely delicious. So let's make it. For this recipe, you'll need a mixing bowl, a hand whisk, and a square or rectangle oven-safe dish. So first, we'll get started with the French toast batter. So first, we're gonna add our eggs, milk, salt, some pepper, chili flakes. You can add more or less based on how spicy you like things, garlic powder, and some fresh rosemary leaves. Now mix this all up with the hand whisk until everything is fully combined. And that's it. Your French toast batter is now ready. We're going to set it aside and we're going to prepare our croissants. Okay, so the croissants. I like to use mini ones just because they act like a single portion, and I think that's great. But you can also use regular size ones, just cut them in half if you are using them. But for these are good, you don't have to cut them. But what we are going to do is we're going to basically create a pocket. So we're just going to slit them into half like this, not cut them apart in 2 pieces, just split them into half like this. It should still be connected at the back here. So once again, I'm just creating a pocket by cutting them slightly like this. Okay, disclaimer, please use a chopping board when doing that because I just cut myself. So just warning, don't put it on me. But anyway, when the croissants are all sliced, now it's time to soak them. So we'll get our baking dish in which we're going to bake the croissants. And of course, now you can switch on the oven, turn it on to around 180 to 200 depending on how hot your oven gets. But yeah, let's get started with the soaking. So here we have our batter, here we have our dish, and here we have our croissants. And now let's go through the steps. So I'll take one of the croissants, make sure it's sliced in half. I'm gonna put it into the batter and make sure I dunk it in really well. And because croissants are not as soft as bread, I like to leave it in the batter for a couple of minutes, maybe a minute or two, not too long because they will disintegrate, but just make sure that it's been really soaked well. Once it's soaked, just pick it up and just drain out all the excess liquid and transfer it into your pan. Repeat the process with all the croissants until the pan is filled, then pour some of the excess batter on top. Now fill the croissant pockets with cheddar cheese slices and any meat of your choice. You can also customize this and make it vegetarian by adding things like mushrooms and anything you like. Now fill the other empty spaces in the pan with more cheese and meat, then add a few slices of jalapenos if you like it spicy. Now we're going to top all of this with some shredded mozzarella cheese. Then we're going to bake this for about 20 minutes until it's golden brown at 180 degrees. Okay, look at this beauty. It smells amazing. Okay, while it's hot, we're going to give it a little brush of garlic butter. You can also use plain butter, but this garlic butter is just butter mixed with salt and some garlic powder. I just feel like it adds a very nice flavor to it. That looks epic. It's cheesy, salty, meaty, absolutely delicious. I absolutely love all the elements of it, and I really think you should add jalapenos for that spicy kick. I really think you guys will enjoy this, and the best part about this is you could prepare this entire thing and not bake it till the very end. Just keep it prepared for like an hour or two before. You can place it in the fridge, then just place it in the oven while serving, just before serving, 10-15 minutes before serving. It'll be nice and hot and you don't really have to do a lot of work at the end. So this is done. Now let's get to the feta and honey bites. These feta bites are the perfect, easy, bite-sized treat that you can serve to your guests during iftar parties, or you can just have them at home. Super simple, but super delicious. They might be small, but they pack a bunch of flavor. So let me show you how to make it. What you're gonna need is a mixing bowl again, an electric whisk. You could use a hand whisk, but it's gonna be a little bit of an arm workout. So I would recommend using an electric. And a giant baguette. I mean, it doesn't have to be giant, but a baguette that you can easily find in any grocery store. Hopefully, if you can't find a baguette, you can make do with a similar bread, but I would recommend using a baguette. So let's get started. Okay, first we'll start with the baguette, and this time I'm using a cutting board so that I don't cut myself. But it's too big, so I'm just gonna cut it in half first. Then you're gonna cut it lengthwise in half again. Please be careful I don't take any claims of injury caused by this. Okay, once we have them cut like this, we're gonna cut them in smaller pieces. You can cut them as small, as big as you like, but I just like to keep them about the size so they're like a small treat. So this is our bread done. I'm just gonna place it on my baking sheet. And after this, we'll get to the feta. Okay, now let's make the feta mixture. So here I have some fresh cubed feta. Feta is pretty crumbly, but when you whip it, it actually becomes very soft and creamy, and that's what we're gonna spread on top of the bread. To this feta, I'm gonna add some salt, but don't add too much because feta is already quite salty, so you can taste it after, but begin with a little salt. Chili flakes, this is optional, but I like some spice, as you know, but I really think it adds to the flavor. And now we're just gonna whip it. So this is why I said using a hand whisk is a little difficult because feta is quite hard. But if you are using a hand whisk, just heat it a little until it softens a little bit. It'll just make it easier for you to whisk it. Every feta is different and some are more crumbly. So if yours is more crumbly, I would add just like a tiny bit of milk, not too much, maybe about a tablespoon or so. And that's just gonna make the mixing process easier. Once the feta is nice and creamy like this, we can spread it on the bread. So here we have our bread, and we're basically just going to pick each piece and spread a thick layer of the feta on top. Here you go. If you want to be fancier, you can put it in a piping bag, make nice designs with it, but I'm going to be basic today. Top the cheese with any seasonings you like. I like to use za'atar and everything bagel seasoning because they give a pop of flavor. Before serving, I like to put these in the oven for around 2 to 3 minutes just to warm them up on a low temperature. Don't put them in a high temperature for a long time because the bread will get very hard. We don't want that. We just want the cheese to be a little soft and warm. So let's bake them for 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, they're nice and warm, but we are not done yet. The final step is still left. Okay, so once the breads are warm, we're just going to drizzle them with a little bit of honey. Yes, honey. And if you're thinking honey sweet, I know, but it tastes amazing. And the honey is what makes this bite, so please don't skip it. But do this just before serving. Just warm them up, put the honey on top, and serve. Okay, taste test time. It's such a nice combination. It's sweet, it's salty, it has that spicy flavor, it's creamy, it's crunchy because of the bread. It's literally the perfect little bite. You have to give this a try for Ramadan. Okay, so now these are done. Let's get to the curried eggplants. Okay, curried eggplants. These are basically roasted eggplant slices that are topped with some curry and lime yogurt, some sliced onions that have been cooked with some curry powder, and a few other things that add a lot of flavor and texture and make this dish absolutely delicious. My favorite thing about this is that you can prep all the ingredients beforehand and just plate it at the end before serving, and it's absolutely delicious. So let's get started. First, we're going to prep our eggplants, aubergines, whatever you call them. So basically you can take these or the big ones, whatever you find. But first, we're just going to cut off the top. Now take a peeler and just peel some strips from the eggplant. So once you peel the strips, it's going to look something like this. It doesn't have to be super neat, so don't worry about it. And now we're just going to slice them. The slices should not be too thin or too thick, just medium sized. So something around this thickness should be good. Don't make them too thin because they do shrink while they roast. So eggplants generally have a lot of moisture in them, and it's best to reduce that moisture before you roast them so that they become nice and caramelized and don't actually become soggy. So to do that, what you basically have to do is line a tray with some tissue paper, some kitchen towel, and we're going to place all the slices on the towel. Now just salt them generously. The salt is gonna just suck out the water moisture out of the eggplant slices, and they're not gonna get soggy while they roast. Now just place some more paper towel on top and let these sit for about 20 to 30 minutes until the moisture just comes out. Now while that's happening, we're gonna make the rest of our components. Let's make the curry and lime yogurt. First, add some Greek yogurt in a bowl. I would highly recommend using Greek yogurt because it has a very nice texture, but if you cannot find it, you can use regular yogurt. Curry powder, turmeric, good pinch of salt, pepper, lime juice. Mix it until it's all combined. And that's it, the yogurt is ready. Now let's do the onions. Get your pan, add some oil, not too much. Once the oil is heated, add the sliced onions. Now we'll just cook this until they become soft and caramelized. Once they're caramelized, add curry powder, salt, and chopped peanuts or almonds. Mix and combine and cook for another 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, now it's time to roast our eggplants. As you can see, the moisture has come out. You can see the paper towel is quite wet, which means they're ready to be roasted. So to roast them, we are just going to add all the slices in a bowl. Add some oil, salt, and some pepper. Give it a quick mix. Now we're going to take our baking sheet, line it with some baking paper, and place all the slices on the baking sheet. Now bake these for about 30 to 40 minutes at around 200 degrees Celsius until they're soft and caramelized. Okay, our eggplants are roasted and all of our toppings are ready, so let's assemble. To assemble, grab a large plate and place the eggplants in a circle, overlapping each slice over the other, and fill the center with the remaining slices. Top the eggplant with dollops of curry yogurt, then add the curry onions, toasted cumin and coriander seeds, lime zest, and finally some pomegranate seeds for a pop of flavor and color. And there you go, your curried eggplants are ready. Now tell me this is not going to look like an absolute showstopper on your iftar table. So good. But you know what? It tastes just as good as it looks. So let's give it a try. It's literally like an explosion of flavors because you have the curry powder, you have the pomegranate, you have the lime, you have the cold yogurt. It just pairs together so beautifully. It's like a flavor party in your mouth. You must give this a try. Now this is done. Let's get to our final recipe, which is the Kunafa Sandwich. This Kunafa sandwich is a simple and easy rendition of the original Kunafa. Of course, it's not like the original Kunafa, it's just inspired by it, but it tastes very similar, it's super delicious, and you can make it in less than 10 minutes. So let me show you how to make it. So we're going to start with the Kunafa dough, which is also known as the Katafi dough. They're basically like shreds. You should find these very easily in any Middle Eastern store. They're found in the frozen section. So here we have our Kunafa dough. Into this, we're going to add some melted butter, and then we're going to just mix it with our hands. You just want to add as much butter as required so that the Kunafa dough is properly soaked into the butter. Yes, the recipe has quite a bit of butter, but it's Kunafa, so there's no other way. But just keep adding more butter until the Kunafa dough is nice and buttery. Once this is done, we're going to set it aside and we're going to get our bread slices. You can use any regular white bread slices. I just recommend using white for the flavor because It's not going to taste as nice in whole wheat. Now cover one side of each slice with butter. Yes, more butter. Then take your buttered kunafa dough and stick it on the slice. Just make sure that the entire slice is covered with the kunafa dough so that we can get that nice crunch throughout. Now turn the slice and add a layer of thick cream and top it with the second slice of bread. Now get to your pan. Add a little more butter. I promise this is going to be the last of it. Place the sandwich in the pan and cook on both sides until golden brown. Make sure not to keep the heat too high or the kunafa dough will start to burn. Now place it on a plate and hear the crunch. Top the sandwich with some sugar syrup on both sides. I've shared my sugar syrup recipe in my Ramadan prep video, by the way. Then slice it and enjoy, but be careful because it will be hot. Okay, taste test time. That tastes so delicious and it literally takes less than 10 minutes. If you like kunafa, you definitely should try this kunafa sandwich. It's such a great addition to your dessert table and I think you'll really enjoy it. And that's it for today's iftar ideas. If you have any more ideas that you want me to try, drop them in the comments. I hope you enjoyed the recipes. If you give them a try, let me know what you thought about them in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe and see you next time.